Good afternoon to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack here. It is Friday, the 18th day of October 2024. Pretty quick update for you, though, but it is important. We do have potential Tropical Cyclone 15 in the northwestern Caribbean Sea. Going to bring impacts to our friends in the Yucatan, specifically Belize, the north coast of Honduras. We'll take a look at that. And at the end of the update today, a pretty potent MJO signal coming. One last big chance for some development to happen in the western part of the basin as the season continues this backloaded look and all the results we have seen because of that in the last several weeks. All right, let's get right to it. National Hurricane Center homepage, they issued a special message, and that messaging indicating that we do have PTC 15 because it is potentially going to be a tropical cyclone. Top winds 35 miles per hour already. Pressure estimated to be 1,005 millibars. The biggest threat here, rainfall. Big threat there for rain along the eastern part of the Yucatan and then across Central America into southeastern Mexico. And I want to highlight that 12 feet. 12 feet. My goodness. That would be the end of it, wouldn't it? Luckily not that much. Just Mark overdoing it there. 12 inches of rain. 12 feet would be horrible, absolutely. 12 inches of rain in parts of southeastern Mexico, not to be taken lightly despite my faux pas of saying 12 feet. 12 inches is enough, and seriously, this can cause a lot of problems. So even though it's not some big, powerful hurricane that's got everybody tuned in and it's trending on Twitter or whatever, it is going to be a big rainmaker for our friends in Central America, even though it won't be 12 feet. All right, here's what it looks like on the track map. Our good buddy Will Woodgate making some extra things available, it looks like. I like that. Got the watch put up there, the Tropical Storm Watch, because this is forecast to organize PTC 15 to a tropical storm, labeling, classification. Again, that's what we do, apparently, as people. But yeah, it could become a tropical storm. If so, the name would be Nadine. And here's the different history of it. Now it's PTC 15, forecast to make landfall down here in Belize. So if you've got travel plans this weekend to this area, you need to be paying very close attention to this. And then we use green here because that's what typically rain is, green for some reason on a lot of maps. The heavy rainfall is expected to extend inland, and we need to be very aware of that. Look at this topography in here. Lots of mountains in there. And again, these systems can dump a lot of rain, and that needs to be taken seriously by the folks down in that area. Looking at the satellite view, I tell you what, it's definitely come together pretty quick here this late afternoon into early evening hours as the sun begins to set. Also, look at 94L over here. Really trying to tighten up right there. I'm surprised that didn't get a special mention. Looks like the dogs are barking out there. They're surprised too. It looks like it was trying to get to the surface. And in fact, let's just take a real quick peek now out at Puerto Rico. And I'm putting this together at 5-something in the afternoon, so all the neighbors are home walking their dogs since my dogs start barking at them. But yeah, let's take a look at the San Juan, Puerto Rico radar. Let's put this into motion, and you can clearly see some rotation here. Luckily, far enough away from the islands, there's a little bit of pop-up shower and thunderstorm activity over Puerto Rico, but whatever circulation there is, well north of the U.S. British Virgin Islands. But this energy is going to make its way eventually to the west and southwest toward the Greater Antilles. So that will eventually mean impacts in the form of rain for these areas through here over the next several days. So this too bears watching, because of that potential of some pretty heavy rainfall with 94L. And I'm going to tell you, if this keeps on with that deep convection right there, and we get some kind of a microwave scatterometer satellite pass over it, and we can detect a solid, well-defined low-level circulation. Recon was tasked to go out there, but they canceled it. Hurricane Center calling that off. Instead, going to dedicate the resources to this feature. But you never know, this might sneak in and become a depression or maybe even a brief named storm. Again, those are just all classifications that us humans keep up with. The bottom line, not an impact to Florida, so don't worry about it there. But this moisture should make its way eventually towards the greater Antilles. And again, rain, rain, rain. That can be a big problem. You know it all too well by now, hopefully, just from experience. So the vorticity signature, much more concentrated today. This as well. And yeah, both systems, obviously this has the best potential right now. Put a question mark for 94L out here. Maybe it tries to do something, and then more energy lurking out in the open Atlantic. And that, my friends, is our mid-latitude extratropical storm, or mid-latitude storm system. Let's go back to the satellite. I'll show it to you. No, I won't. It's off the extent. So forget I mentioned it. But yeah, that's a mid-latitude storm. You can even see the front, even on the vorticity signature. Non-tropical area of low pressure, but quite the gale center nevertheless. So here's what our features look like from the 12Z GFS earlier today. And there is the vorticity of now PTC 15. This is the weak area of energy associated with 94L. And then there's that very potent mid-latitude storm system, non-tropical area. And you can clearly see, even on here, there's your front, and it's attached to the front. So non-tropical in origin, even though it's kicking up the seas quite a bit out there. It's pretty darn windy. Let's watch what happens. Vorticity-wise, yep, right at landfall. It looks like we will get Nadine out of this. I'm a betting man in this situation. Yeah, I'll bet, I don't know, $1, whatever. I'll put the bet on that this does become Nadine. And again, that's just a name. And I'm very clear about that, because what we name them doesn't matter at the end of the day versus the impacts. And that's what I really like to emphasize here with our project, with our outreach. And those impacts, when you see all that red and orange and whatnot, that's tight vorticity down there. Yes, it could be kind of windy. And yes, when we get powerful hurricanes, that does matter. But that is a big rainmaker that will scoot across Central America and into Mexico. And I can show it to you over on the precip part here. Look at all that moisture. Well, not necessarily precip, but it equals precip with all of that humidity. A lot of moisture working its way out of the Caribbean into southeastern Mexico with time. And then let's watch 94L over here. It makes its way into the greater Antilles too, but the front does come down and kind of squash everything. But there could be some heavy rain from time to time across portions of Hispaniola, maybe Jamaica, maybe even working some of that rain over towards the Cayman Islands. Later on down the road, we got to watch the old MJO. It is forecast to be quite amplified. This is the ECMWF. This is your mean in here, and that gets us out to the 1st of November. So as October ends and we get into early November, this is really going to be amped up, favoring the Western Hemisphere and Africa eventually. So we should have quite the flare-up of even more activity in the western parts of the Atlantic Basin. The GFS in agreement as well, even more amplified. At least some of the members are. So hurricane season not over by a long shot, and we still have impacts. And even though this is threatening areas far south of the lower 48, it does matter. A lot of people go down to Belize, people go down to the Yucatan, whether they are cruising on big ships, private ships, yachts, sailboats, catamarans, whatever. It matters. So that's why I'm bringing it up. Didn't want to miss out on it. All right, so there you go. You're up to date on it. At least the weekend outside of this looks great everywhere else. I'll be on top of everything throughout the weekend. And we'll do another live update, too, on Monday morning just to set the stage for the week ahead. So book it. 9 a.m. YouTube Live Monday morning. We'll definitely do that. All right, have a good weekend. As always, thanks for tuning in. I'm Mark Sudduth from all of us at HurricaneTrack. Again, have a super weekend ahead, and I'll see you on Monday.